Alright, you guys, I hope and trust everybody's doing really well. Been over 2 weeks.
How many of you guys also watch Stephen Scalline's channel? He is my favorite YouTuber currently, I guess in part because the times that he's run are the times that I would dream of running. I will never run 2:09. I'll probably never even run 2:16 that he ran at London Marathon just before making these videos. But I don't know, the way that in which he delivers videos, it's unreal. And it was really cool to be able to go for a run with him earlier this week up here in Flagstaff. And that's what this video is all about. A bit of an update as to where I'm at with training. I was supposed to put these videos out every fortnight. I've missed that on the third episode, this one. I think I'm 3 weeks after the last one. But I'm gonna get back on track now and publish at least every fortnight. And yeah, I figure this would be a good opportunity to share more about Flagstaff, what it's like to train here, what I've been up to in the first 12 days since I've been here. After this scene, I'll show you a little bit about, we took a little bit of footage on the way here and as I was packing up. I guess to show a little bit of behind the scenes as to what it's like to run the company. What I pack on trips, if that's of interest, it might not be. And just a bit of the travel journey as well. But yeah, this is one of a couple of videos at least about Flagstaff and training in Flagstaff and a little bit of an update. But I thought what I would do in this intro as well is answer a couple of questions quite relevant to this video. Because I put up an Instagram story the other day and asked me anything, which I don't do too often, but I do enjoy. And there's 3 questions here I thought I'd save for this video because they're quite relevant. Firstly, welcome to the view from our apartment. Here for 3 to 4 weeks, been here for 12 days. Already filmed 3 workouts, 1 with Ryan Hall and 2 with the Under Armour teams and New Balance teams, so you see a bit of that later on. But the 3 questions I thought I'd answer here, what do you think is better, Boulder or Flagstaff for altitude? So I've lived in Boulder for over a year, and I've probably spent 2 months in Flagstaff. And I think Flagstaff is better for a few reasons. I think the altitude is better here at 2,100 meters, 7,000 feet. Boulder's a little bit lower, 5,300 feet, 1,600 meters. At least the science that I've read indicates that around 2,000 meters is sort of ideal for most distance running events, but you could argue that that's too high for some events, such as 800 and 1,500, where you're trying to run faster. But for the marathon, I think this is perfect. And I think, I don't know, there's something special about this place. I mean, you could say there's something special about Boulder too, but I think if I had to move back to one of these 2, it would be Flagstaff. I think the way in which you can drive down to Sedona, we'll show you some footage of that in a minute, in 50 minutes and be at less than Boulder, like 1,300, 1,400 meters, which is significantly different to here, is huge. And you can even drive another 20 minutes to Cottonwood, where I filmed last night, Under Armour Baltimore, and it's like less than 1,000 meters, I think, which is like 3,300 feet. I could have that math slightly wrong, but about that. And it's really different training down there, as in much easier, much closer to sea level. So yeah, to Cottonwood's just over an hour, to Sedona's just under 50 minutes. And I would pick Flagstaff over Boulder if I was going to move back to a place. Plus, Flagstaff's a bit more friendly. I'll leave it at that. Tips from transitioning from 5K training to marathon training. So this is a timely question because I'm currently training for the mile, basically, as you guys probably know. Sort of a bit of a 5K crossover as well. I've just entered my first race of the year, which is going to be in July, 5K. How do you transition from 5K to marathon? Well, I think marathon performance actually comes down to some extent to 5K, 10K performance. Like if you, for example, if I want to run 2:19, which is 3:19 per K, I have to be able to run a 5K significantly faster than that. If you want to get mathematical, in my opinion, I have to be running at least 14:30, which is 2:54 per K. So if I can improve that 2:54 per K, I think I've probably been in shape to do that before, although I actually didn't line up and race one. But if I can improve that 5K pace at 2:54 down to 2:50 and run 14:10, which is what I'd like to do in July, although I know it's a stretch for sure, I think in my eyes, if everything else remains constant and I'm able to keep that sort of marathon fitness, or at least I'm able to revisit it very quickly afterwards, that will then make that marathon pace 3:19 feel easier, and hopefully marathon pace can then come down to like 3:15, 3:16, which would be a 2:17 marathon. So how to transition between the 2? I think it's about getting into really good 5K, 10K shape, and then essentially extending the long run out at marathon effort. what marathon effort means and why it's different to marathon pace is for a different day. But it's really the Canova method is the thing that I sort of follow. It's like, get fit over 5-10K, get your VO2 max and threshold in a good place, and then learn to extend the ability to run at a little bit slower than that as long as you can. So start by doing a long run of, say, 13 miles, where maybe the last 3-4 miles is pretty close to that goal marathon pace or goal effort, and then add more volume and more time at that intensity to be able to eventually build up to doing 2x6 miles or 2x10K at marathon effort 8 weeks after you've started the block. So it's a very short answer, and it probably isn't quite detailed enough, but I think getting into 5K, 10K shape as best as you can, and then essentially extending the workouts out a little bit longer, and maybe you don't even have to go quite as fast in those workouts because you're now practicing efficiency of the marathon. But more importantly, the long run, like Canova's philosophy is all about extending the long run and the pace and the intensity of the long run to be able to do almost half of the marathon, or in Canova's case, more than half of the marathon at the marathon goal effort in training 2-3 weeks out from the race. So very difficult to answer that question in a couple of minutes thoroughly, but that's my best one. The third one is a good one. Psychological tips for when a race or a workout gets hard, you start to hit the wall. I really don't know if there's a way to teach this. There's lots of people online, especially Instagram, like David Goggins and Cameron Haynes and stuff, that are really motivating like this, but I think you really have to work this out yourself, in my opinion. I think you have to come up with a reason and a meaning to push really hard when it matters. Professional athletes get that meaning from winning races and from beating people. They're warriors for the most part. They get into races wanting to win, wanting to fight, wanting to crush everybody else. What us mere mortals can do, that those that are not professionals, is come up with their own strategies and their own methods to learn how to hurt in training and learn how to hurt in a race. But I do think that so much of this game is mental, and people fixate so much on the specific training, and I think that's important, but I think there is so much more to it than that. And if you can work out how to dig really deep and learn how to go to the absolute well and learn how to control your stress and effort, I think that's a massive part of the deal and a much bigger deal than most people realize. So yeah, that's my best answer to that question. I'll keep shooting through answers to these questions because I think I've got 65 other questions I haven't answered yet. And thank you to those that submitted questions. I really appreciate it. Do I miss Mexico? Favorite movies, music artists. I answered a few of these on my Instagram already. But yeah, so I guess how's it been going up here? 12 days. I have been training really well. To be honest, I feel like since the start of the year, I've been pretty lazy with just doing enough volume. You know, people sometimes think, oh, you need to either be a volume counter or not. Like, are you for high mileage or are you not? It's like, no, I kind of sit in the middle of that. I know it's important. I know volume's important. I don't think it's a good idea to necessarily track it really carefully and chase volume. Like having a goal of doing 100 miles a week and then being on Saturday and realizing you need to do X number of Ks to hit that thing doesn't make any sense to me, but I do know that volume matters. And I've been doing pretty low volume, honestly, over the last few months. And I know that what I'm currently doing isn't going to be enough to hit the mile and 5K milestones that I want to hit, which is 4:10 and 14:10. And I'll be happy to not hit those times if I know I'm close to that shape. So for example, the 5K I'm doing in July, it's going to be hot. It's at a track that's usually windy. If I end up running 14:20 something or 14:30 something, but I think I could have run 14:10 in a good race, that's mission accomplished. It's always hard to do that, but I think you get a gut feel of that. And I think the best example of that, guys that would probably be familiar with this, is Eric Floberg, who recently ran 2:38 in Boston, but he knew he could run 5 minutes quicker because it was hot, the hilly course. Yeah, of course, he decided to try and run 2:35 at Boston, and people are pointing that out. But I think you leave a race like that knowing you got more in you. So that's what I mean by these next few races. But I had a really good workout earlier this week of 10 300s. The speed stuff is really paying dividends, I think, already. I did a workout that I never would have been able to do last year, 10 300s in 45, 46 seconds with 90 seconds rest. That's under 4-minute mile pace, or right around 4-minute mile pace. Yeah, there's no chance I would have been able to do that in December last year. I would have been struggling to hit 48s. So, good sign that the speed is there. I have a long way to go, but now is time to really ramp things up. It's time to really, really start to take this more seriously. And put myself in the best possible position to run a really good mile and a really good 5K in June and July. So I've got a mile in June I'm thinking about doing. I'm just not sure if there's a travel thing that will be in the way. And then in July, I've committed to 12th of July, 5,000 meters in Chicago, shooting for as low 14 as I possibly can before I start the block leading into the marathon, which hopefully will be Chicago. I'm trying to get in, might be Indianapolis, we'll see, but we'll share more about that soon. But here's a little bit of the journey, getting to Flagstaff, a little bit of the early days, and I'll share much more in a future video about what it's actually like to train here more specifically. If you're enjoying this video series, I would love it if you can check out my brand partners offers. The first one being Soar Running. I wear Soar Running in every single workout and every single race. Do go and check them out. Their gear is the best. Precision Fuel and Hydration, in my opinion, make the best gels, drink mix, and electrolytes in the game. Do go and check them out. You can score a discount in the link in the description of the video. Garmin, I've been a Garmin user my whole life. I've never used another brand except for about 3 months when I couldn't get a Garmin. The 965 is the best watch I've ever had. Do go and check them out. Ketone IQ, I speak about them in most podcasts and most videos. They are our biggest brand partner now, and I use Ketone IQ every single day in the morning and most recently after workouts. And also Stride. They have recently come on as a brand partner of mine, and they are doing plenty in the next edition of their Stride pod. So do go and check out Stride. They have plenty of really exciting things coming in the near future that I'll share with you in this video series. Another video, another trip, another scene of me packing my bag. Welcome to another episode. So we are heading to Flagstaff, Arizona in a few hours. It's 12:50. We leave at 4:18, I think it is. Mm-hmm. So packing up, and I guess we wanted to put a little bit of a scene in here around traveling and working and running, because at least a question that I'm asked often is, how do you figure out how to run and where to run on trips? Now, this isn't what this scene's about. I'll share more about that later. In fact, Strava is a really good tool for that, by the way, the heat maps. That's basically the answer, other than just looking at parks on Google Maps. But I am asked occasionally, like, how do you pack for a trip? And it's funny, like, I don't tend to see a 5-day trip as any different to a month trip in terms of packing. I definitely learned lessons the hard way when I was younger around packing 14, 20 different t-shirts and 10, 12 different pairs of pants. That's a nightmare, to be honest, for any type of trip. I wouldn't recommend anyone do that. I definitely learned that if you just bring, say, 5 of everything, 5 sets of running gear for sure, 5 t-shirts, maybe 3 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of pants. Welcome to the packing advice channel. That's fine because you just wash like every 3rd day. And so I tend to do that. Soar, being a sponsor of this video series, have sent me so much kit that the majority of what I'm packing is going to be Soar gear. Here's the jacket. I've actually already promoted this jacket in a video a couple of years back. And sorry, Soar, if this jacket is no longer on sale. It probably isn't. I think it's an old version, but this is probably my favorite that I wear all the time, the Ultra Jacket 4.0. I shared on a video a few years ago in London that it makes, if you're hot, it makes you feel cold, and if you're cold, it makes you feel hot. Reem, can you attest to the fact that that's kind of true?
Guys, it's really true, surprisingly.
It might not necessarily work that much in the context of if you're hot, it makes you cold, but it's you get the point. It sort of works both ways. But yeah, packing up, we are going to Flagstaff, and these are the athletes that I'm hoping to work with. Now, let me just be clear that this is not a locked-in, confirmed list of people that I'm working with. This is just more so a list of people that I would like to work with. And there's actually a few more not on that list that are written down on a different notepad, but I tend to put most ideas here and then move them over. Jakob, if you're watching this, video, join us. So we've actually asked Jakob probably like 10 times. You know, you listening might have written a comment at one point, because we have had so many comments of people saying, when's Jakob coming on? Like, we've tried, obviously, and I'll continue to try. Now, there's nothing locked in yet. It might not happen, but I have worked a few different angles in terms of friends and friends of friends and friends of brothers, more specifically one of those brothers, that says it might be possible. So we'll see. There's no confirmation, but we'll do our best. But Lewis Grijalva, I really like to work with. We've done a video with him before, although that wasn't me that filming. Hobbs Kessler has already expressed strong interest. Under Armour teams have as well. Trevor Foley and Sam Long down in Tucson. We'll be heading over there. That's about 4 hours drive. Jake Whiteman's up there. I haven't actually spoken with him yet, but we've done a video with him before. Ryan Hall, Molly Sadell. Yeah. So, once again, this is not a locked-in list of videos coming, but it's the hit list, should I say.
Yeah.
What else? So, I guess more about packing. Oh, this would be interesting to some people. I put on my Instagram story the other day. I had this realization. I know for sure it was a Monday because I remember I put it's a Monday morning thought. That is not acceptable. That amount of shoes is just not right. And having this amount of shoes is unacceptable because it's a waste. I mean, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of it's just, yeah. And I don't really know how I managed to have that many shoes, but I do. And at least 80% of them are not even 20% used. And so I made a pact to myself the other day that I'm not going to buy any more shoes or receive any more shoes because some of these have been sent to me, some of them I bought, probably about 80% of them were sent to me. And until I wear through them all, I'm not buying any more. And I hope that other people can take that lesson on board as well. I mean, consumerism is a real problem for many reasons. I'm not going to dive into here, I'm sure you can imagine. And I've just made a pact to myself that I'm just going to wear through all these before I buy any more shoes. And I mean, there's 2 pairs of brand new Invincibles there that Nike were, I was lucky enough to get from Nike last year when we went to the Berlin Track Club videos. There's 2 pairs of brand new, and I'm already sitting on the internet looking at what other Super Blast shoes. I'm I've got so many perfectly good pairs of shoes here. So that's something I'm doing. You will not see many shoe reviews from me anytime soon, maybe ever again. And there's nothing against shoe reviews at all. I do think shoe reviews are a little bit pointless in a way because, I mean, we used to have a brand partner that was pushing us to do shoe reviews all the time. We don't work with them anymore. I mean, ever since I put a shoe out there that I didn't like on video, they didn't like that. And I was like, okay, well, I have to do the shoe review though. I want to tell you exactly what I think about the shoe. If I can't speak honestly about that, what's the point? Mm-hmm. But the main reason why I think that they're pointless is because we all have different feet and we all have different body weights and different foot strikes and different preferences. Mm-hmm. And there are some shoes like the Vaporfly 1, probably the Super Blast, that it seems like they're universally loved, but even still, I just don't really see the point. But some of my friends, including Kafusi, do brilliant shoe reviews, so I'm not necessarily hating on shoe reviews. I'm just saying that I'm not really interested in doing them and I don't really ever watch them. So,
Plus, Bree needs her closet back.
Yeah, that's right. So that's that. What else are we packing? Definitely Pillar Performance Triple Magnesium. That's going in the suitcase.
My HBMN.
Yeah, so Ketone IQ, definitely packing that. I'll have one of them a day. Oh yeah, so I guess I haven't put this on the YouTube channel yet, but I've said it on the podcast. There's been some really interesting... So Ketone IQ sponsored this video series, full transparency, we've been working with them for over a year. I love this product for a few reasons that I've shared. The main one is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. But there's really interesting research at the moment about recovery immediately after training. And I shared on the podcast that I caught up with a friend in Boulder recently, chemical engineer by the name of Lyle. He won Indianapolis Marathon last year and ran 2:14 at the trials. He has been researching ketones to no end, so chemical engineer, so researches this stuff. And he has been trialing exogenous ketones immediately after training. And he said that the benefits of recovery are huge due to the glycogen, I'm going to butcher this, glycogen response. It's basically able to utilize glycogen in a more effective way, which is better for recovery. So really interesting. I haven't really used them much at all for recovery yet. I have done it twice, but I'm going to try to do that after every hard workout. But I've just been taking the first thing in the morning, and those first few hours, I'm just so focused and smashing through work. It's great. Precision Fuel and hydration stuff. I mean, I'll load up on their gels and carb chews and drink mix. I mean, I'm going in the bag. I have one of these before most workouts. They're really good. Just thinking about carbs. What else? Yeah, that'll be the main things I packed for the camp, other than obviously camera. Yeah, that's it. But we're sharing one suitcase for a month, Reem and I, and carry on.
One suitcase, guys.
So Reem and I are taking. This is how little we're packing, and we won't even feel that. And that'll be part of my camera equipment as well. But a backpack for me, a backpack for Reem, and just that. And honestly, we probably wouldn't even need a suitcase that big. I think it could be 3/4 of that size. So my tip for this video is pack light. You won't regret it. Sometimes I still catch up with friends, or they go on a trip with me where they'll pack a suitcase this big for 3 days with like 10 different options, and I'm just like, why? I think it's very easy to continuously wash, especially if you set reminders in your phone. So we set a reminder on our phone. I put one every afternoon, but I don't necessarily action on it every afternoon about wash clothes, normally at 5 p.m. And
we're staying at an Airbnb this time, so.
Yeah, we're at Airbnb. We have, in this particular case, we have a laundry, so we will be able to actually wash it with a washing machine, but sometimes we do wash by hand.
Yeah.
We'll get laundry liquid, fill up the bowl full of, this sounds like we're in Kenya.
I know.
But we do this in Kenya, but we sometimes do it in the
Old
States.
school.
If we're in a hotel and there's no laundromat anywhere near us, we will sit there. Well, in fact, a bath is a good use for this. You
Yeah.
fill up a bath full of hot water, you put the laundry detergent in there, and then you just sit there for like 5 minutes and just wash through the clothes by hand, and then rinse it out in the shower and hang it up. Like, we do that probably 50% of the time.
Yeah. Saves us a lot of time.
Yeah, and if you're doing it every 2 to 3 days, it's not that hard. It's just getting into the habit of doing it. Because if you're doing it every 2 to 3 days, you're only doing it with like 6 to 10 items of clothing, right? Like some socks, some underwear, some running gear, and some casual clothes. And so it doesn't feel like a burden if you're doing a small load, like a hand wash. So yeah, there's my travel tips.
Well, guys, it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we're going to go soon. In terms of training though, I guess that's what this series is supposed to be about. There is a private video available all about my test in Boulder with Keith that you're able to watch. So I'll put the link up in the corner here and you can find it in the video. And that has Keith talking through the results of my Moxie test in Boulder a couple of weeks ago.
You also changed something in your training, right?
I did, yeah. And so this change has actually been coming for about a month. I was on a 12-day training cycle from February. So it was a hard workout, and I've shared this in detail on the podcast, but I'm aware that some people watching might not listen to the podcast. In fact, many probably don't. I was on a training plan up until last week that was 12 days. So I went hard day 1, that might be Monday, 2 easy days, hard day 4, easy day 5, 6, hard day 7. And so it was 12 days, so there was 4 hard workouts in the 12-day block, right? Day 1, 4, 7, and 10. And they were all different. And for some reason I can't explain, I struggled with the whole idea of it because it wasn't on the cycle of Monday through Sunday. And at first I thought, who cares if it's not on Monday to Sunday, it doesn't matter. But the main issue was I could never link up with anyone to train with them because no one ever knew what I was doing on a particular day, right? Because typically a group would be like, Tuesday track intervals, Thursday hills, Saturday tempo or long run or whatever it is, it's relevant. But many people would, if they're trying to link up with others in their hometown, they'd know when that person is training. At least I've been in that boat before. And so I had to make a difficult decision to go off that 12-day training cycle and go back aligning with a 7-day training week. Just because I want to run with people. And there's a couple of people in Chicago I've been training with. They can never align with me or could never align with me when I was on the 12-day cycle. So I've gone back to doing stock standard workouts on Tuesday and Saturday and a speed workout on Thursday for now, but that might change soon too because I may be joining some more people in the very near future. I'll share more about that later. But the point is I really struggled for some weird reason. I don't even know why. Well, I do know why. It's because I couldn't really easily align with people. But even in my own planning of training, it's like I always had to come back to the training plan to figure out what I was doing. And I've never been like that before. And it might seem like such a small detail that doesn't matter. But for some reason, it just sits better with me to be like, I know on Tuesdays I'm doing intervals at VO2 max or 5K, 10K effort, 3K, 5K, 10K effort. I know on Saturday I'm doing threshold work. And I use those particular days for those particular workouts. It's because that's what I did this week. I did intervals on Tuesday, some fast hill workout or zone 6 stuff like high-end speed work on Thursday, and this morning, a few hours ago, did 5 by mile at threshold. So yeah, there's the training update. We talk in detail about the specifics of the training on the podcast, and that podcast feed is actually not free to air. It's behind our shareholders club, so it's for supporters only, members only. It's only $10 a month or $99 a year, and you can access it by going to the link below. But yeah, and in that podcast we speak in detail about what I'm doing in training, but of course that's also on Strava. So, but if you want to hear me narrate it and talk through it and have some jokes with friends, it's over there too. But yeah, we gotta go. We have a flight in 3 hours and 15 minutes. I still haven't fully packed.
Neither have I.
Reem, you haven't packed at all. We're leaving in 55 minutes. But looking at that board, yeah, I'm really hoping that top line works. Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, more from Flagstaff coming soon. But yeah, we better get going. So.
See you Flagstaff.
Oh yeah, I'm going to see Bill Burr tonight in Phoenix.
Yes!
I can't believe how well that worked. Actually, I'm going to finish off by saying, I don't know if anyone here listens to the Bill Burr podcast. He's a comedian in the US that I've loved for ages. I've listened to his podcast, I wouldn't say religiously for 5 years, but most of the episodes. And the other day I was listening to a podcast and he said in the intro, he's going to Phoenix, Arizona this weekend. And I didn't even piece it together until I played, because I'm regularly playing Reem scenes from his podcast that are just really dark and funny. And then Reem picked up on the fact that, oh wait, he said he's going to Phoenix. When's he going to Phoenix? And I'm like, oh yeah, we're flying to Phoenix. So this was 2 days ago. We're flying to Phoenix on Saturday afternoon, which is now.
Yeah.
And then we quickly looked it up and we realised he's performing in Phoenix tonight at 7:30 p.m. and there were tickets available and we land at 6:10.
How good
So
is that?
hoping this flight's not delayed, hoping we get to see Bill Burr. But yeah, next video will come from Flagstaff, where hopefully some of these athletes on this board would have already been filmed. So looking forward to that. But I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, gotta run.
Gotta run. How many flights is this for you this year, Ram?
Oh, 100 no. It's close to 50, I would think.
And is this your first time to Flagstaff?
No, it's my second time at Flagstaff.
And what do you think about it?
It's perfect for running.
Bit small.
Yeah.
So we realised we didn't speak at all about Boston Marathon when we did the intro before. Well, I realised. So now I'm going to ask Reem to ask me about how Boston was. So Reem, can you ask me how Boston was?
Let's do this. Tell us, Matt.
Well, I realised in the last video we talked about going to Boston, but then we didn't speak about Boston. So if you want to see what Boston Marathon was like for me, I recommend going straight to Eric Floberg's videos, because the entire experience is on his YouTube channel, more or less.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used Boston as a long, hard run, more or less. I think I said in the last video it didn't necessarily suit the training at all. It was just more that you had the entry and I was going.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to go help Eric, pace him. I'd watched all his videos, I'd run with him a bunch before Boston Marathon, and I just really wanted to help him out. One, to try and see if he can get his time of 2:35, and two, to help contribute to his video, because I know how influential these videos can be for people that are interested in running Boston Marathon or a major. So yeah, I filmed bits and pieces of those videos, and it was so much fun. But I did think, and I must criticize myself here, because I said on my podcast that I think I could run a 2:25 marathon right now, based on the training that I was doing, and I ran 2:56. So I was 31 minutes off what I thought I could run. With that said, I did walk the last 3K.
Yeah, I think a big part of that was because you're like, okay, I got Floberg to the end.
Yeah, I mean, so I ran to 38K at 2:36, 2:37 pace, and then I just walked to the end. I mean, I started cramping up, and I didn't even bother fighting it, really. I think I tried to jog once or twice, and I was like, it's not working out. But it was just a long run, tough one, given it was hot. But it's so fun to run a major marathon, not all out.
I was just going to ask.
And it's unusual, like, why would you do that normally? Like, if you're entering a major marathon, you're going to want to run all out. But that's the second time I've done that. I did New York Marathon in 2019. Long story why I did that, but I did it as a long run for Valencia. And being able to do a major to properly enjoy it and not actually have to go to the well is super fun. So if you ever get the opportunity to do that, I'd recommend doing it.
Yeah, I think also because you were second guessing if you should ever run Boston. You're like, I don't know what the hype is about, and I was like, you have to do it. And I think you just being able to run it for fun really gave you that opportunity to soak everything in, and next time you're able to race it, you'll know what to expect, but also like you're not too worried about having to feel all of Boston, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. So yeah, Boston was fun. Yeah, it's 12 days ago now, so back into training, I already explained that, and Yeah, go check out those videos with Eric. They are really, really cool. We weren't even sure if we were allowed to do that, in a sense of Boston Marathon actually have a rule where you're not supposed to film from the course and publish on the course, but it turns out there's actually a law that like overrides that, that you can do that because it's just a public road. So yeah, we were actually talking in the days before, like, are we allowed to do it?
Coffee shop.
But we did it anyway. So yeah, go check them out. It's really inspiring to watch those videos, especially if you're interested in running these races. So thanks to Eric for collaborating, and yeah, we've been doing plenty of running over the summer together too, so it should be fun. But we are halfway to Phoenix, so yeah, we'll be there tonight.
Get some altitude training.
Yeah, a month at altitude, yeah. Should be good.
To Billboard we go.
Yeah, Bill Burr, we'll be there in a few hours, so looking forward to it. Ryan, thanks for having me at the workout.
Oh yeah, good to have you as always. The more the merrier. It's always fun to get out here at the party on Lake Mary.
Exactly. What's so we've got a 6 mile tempo going on this morning, just a controlled effort, nothing specific in terms of pace.
Yeah, Bia's got 25K coming up in like 10 days, so we are just doing a little threshold work. He's been doing a lot of kind of like broken up stuff, so we're going straight through today.
Okay.
It's coming out of a pretty big workout though, so
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
Yeah. And so is there any sort of specific pace, or is it just roll to feel?
I mean, to be honest, I always prefer to not even really have a pace.
Yeah.
You know, and just
I'm all for that, yeah.
let the athletes like figure it out as they go, because you never know how they're gonna feel. You know, I mean, you don't want to race thresholds, right? So it's like always feeling like he's making a deposit, not a deposit, not a withdrawal.
Yep.
And that comes from not racing. That's what his superpower is. He's good at not going too hard in training. You know?
Yeah.
So just keeping it controlled, but just flow with kind of how he's feeling. You know?
Yeah. Perfect.
Play some shit. Hey, you got any music requests?
Just hit me up, something.
Do you like the stuff I usually play? You can never tell with Bia.
Just gets on with it.
Like, Bia, how you doing? That's as much feedback as I get. It's either this or
Good day, bad day, you good.
2 thumbs up.
Sometimes I have to pinch myself when I'm filming these workouts. when I see Ryan Hall turn up in his car and just sort of casually be like, yeah, the more the merrier. It's still a pinch me moment for me, honestly, even though I've been doing this for so long. But yeah, awesome to join Ababia, Simbasa, and Ryan Hall as Ababia is preparing for the 25K national champs that actually happened today as I'm posting this video. And this is Lake Mary Road. So even though this full video will come out next week, this is probably the most popular place for people in Flagstaff to be doing long runs, especially if they're looking to go at any sort of pace, because this is, I wouldn't call this a flat road, but it's very smooth and there's not very many sharp inclines. There is a sharp incline in the very early stages of Lake Mary Road as you're coming from Flagstaff, but if you park about 4 or 5 kilometers down the road at a place called Mailboxes, which is where I shot the scene of Ryan talking about the music, from then onwards heading away from Flagstaff, it's not super hilly, but it's not flat. But this is the place to go for long runs, or an easy run. But if you want to do a fast long run, this is basically the place where most people go. I know that Molly Seidel does a lot of her long runs here, as does Sarah Hall, as do, a lot of the professional runners, Rory Linkletter. I filmed a few workouts out here in 2021, if you've been watching the channel for a while, with some of the marathon runners based in Flagstaff. And I'd definitely be coming to this road if you're in Flagstaff and you're doing some fast running. It was also great to film the Under Armour and New Balance groups down in Sedona. And this is probably the best place to do a track session equal to Cottonwood. This is a little bit higher than Cottonwood, but it's a little bit closer to Flagstaff. So it's about 45, 50 minutes to drive to this track. Many professional athletes come down here and train. I think just the fact that it's under an hour drive, it's really easy to get to. And plus there's plenty of restaurants and stuff nearby and cafes like Chipotle and whatnot to eat afterwards. So yeah, this is a very popular place to train. As I said earlier, you can head out to Cottonwood, which is about another 25-30 minutes drive to go a little bit lower. But personally, I don't really think there's much difference between 1,300 and 1,000 meters elevation. And I think this is probably the more popular place to train, even though I have filmed workouts at Cottonwood as well, which you'll see soon. But this track right here is really good, perfect elevation, and I mean, being in Sedona where you can do touristy things as well is great. So there's obviously a track up in Flagstaff. It's a great track as well, but it is at 2,100 meters roughly, or 7,000 feet, so a bit tougher to train up there. But these are some snippets from the workout I shot with Under Armour and New Balance earlier in the week, and you'll see the full video come out really soon. Nice drive, huh?
Beautiful.
What does Sedona remind you of? Anything else on our travels? I'm using my mobile phone, by the way, because my other camera's running out of battery.
No, I don't think it reminds me of anything.
A little bit of Switzerland, but just different colours.
Oh, yeah.
Like the colours of the mountains are totally different, but like just the way that it looks, like it tends to be a lot more green and white while we were there when it was a bit of snow. But
it's definitely not orange.
But this is such a nice drive.
Oh.
If you ever come to Flagstaff, you absolutely have to drive down to Sedona. It's like, as I said, it's like less than an hour.
It's so beautiful.
But like, yeah, it's so nice.
There's a lot of cool spots that you can just pull over and have a beautiful scenery view.
Yeah.
The bridge. There's a small little pathway. You guys will know what I'm talking about if you ever do this drive. It's beautiful.